Hello, hello, hello. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. I am Matt Williamson. How's everyone doing? I'm in good spirits, lovely weather here, all that good stuff. It has been a while since I have heard from you guys or let you guys get in on the action. So I want to do a mailbag today, and we got some good questions. Mark asked, Scout's Eye has become one of my favorite podcasts. Awesome. I don't blame you. Kidding. I'll keep my question, if not the answer, simple. Through 2 weeks, is it the X's and O's or the Jimmies and Joes? Is there a lack of ability on this roster, or are the players not put in a position to succeed? It's the obvious answer is a combination of both. Are they the worst players on the planet? No. Are they the worst coaches on the planet? No. Is it the best roster in the league? No. Are they the best coaching staff in the league? No, probably not. What are some X's and O's concerns for me? Now, I don't know that they've had a lot of choice. I'm just thinking of Steeler passing game off the top of my head. I don't think they've had a lot of choice in terms of protection and ability to develop longer routes and longer developing plays. But I would like to see the ball pushed down the field more. And I don't think that's an indictment on Rodgers. I think Rodgers is doing a lot with a little, to be very honest with you. So I think that would be helpful. If you attack the intermediate and deeper portions of the field more, I think could pay off even if you're not completing things. I don't remember many deep shots. I mean, there's not, even if you got to max protect, put 7 in there to protect, whatever, I think you got to take more shots. I worry that teams are really keying on the outside zone run game. That we're just going to play that. And if you throw us a curveball with a different run, okay, you caught us, you threw us a curveball. I do think people are defenses are too geared up for outside zone. I think you need to attack in different manners on the ground. So those would be 2 X's and O's things I have concern with. Defensively, I would like to see more. And I know that's a very broad answer. I would like to see more blitz, even though they have. That's not a major criticism of mine. I would like to see more late safety rotations. That is a major criticism of mine. I'd like to see more too high. There's still a lot of the same alignments and single high and cover 1 and cover 3. I would like to see more movement across the defensive front. And that's not just, let's put Watt on the right side, 3 snaps. I mean, how about Hayward aligns up on the left, or Benton aligns up over a tackle, or, move these guys around to see who they can best beat, because the offensive line's not going to move around. So those are things I think you could certainly consider. Now, some of the players have been disappointing as well, and there have been defensive injuries. And I also do think, and again, not excuse, that the run defense and running game, the physicality, the trenches across the league is a work in progress in terms of playing a lot of physical snaps in a row on a given day. It's just starting to be new to these guys. But most teams are doing both those things better than the Steelers, so that's not the best thing I can imagine, So it's a combination of both. And it is a small sample size. I look at things like a number 2 receiver is kind of lacking, or definitely is lacking. The offensive line has not played as well as I think their talent merits. I'm a little worried about Slay. Did you buy something that's a little past its prime? You know what I mean? Is that yogurt getting moldy? Maybe. I don't know. I'm not quite there on Cam Hayward yet, but he has not been typical Cam, and you need him to be. So, good question. It probably could be an hour podcast in itself. Football season is finally here. Time to check out the latest odds, futures, and win totals on FanDuel Sportsbook. Think the Steelers are ahead of the Super Bowl? Lock in your bets today. Whatever your game, FanDuel Sportsbook delivers the latest times, lines, futures, and specials so you can join in on all the action.
Hey guys, if you're planning to see a Steelers game, use the Game Time app to get your tickets. You can snag new ticket deals before anyone if you set it into your app alerts. The app is easy to use. No surprise fees at checkout. You can see your seat view before buying, and you're getting legit tickets delivered on time. If you're not much of a planner, you can get last-minute deals on tickets right up to the start of the event. Lowest price guaranteed, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Download the Game Time app and enter the code DK Steelers into your app profile to get $20 off your first purchase.
Your mom's house says, is Gainwell's usage more of a reflection on the coach's valuing higher than his career highlights suggest? Is warranted or disappointment in Johnson's development? This is starting to be a real story for me, is running back usage. And I think Gainwell has already been overworked. He can't be a 50% participant or even a 30 or 40% participant. I consider him a satellite back, a guy that here and there, and without being a tell. I think more than anything, Johnson's lack of development, and oh, by the way, the story of the day, Tuesday, is he is being taken off kickoff return. No shock there at all. I wonder, will he even be active this week? Because if Sermon at least has played more, could he give you 5 to 10 carries and more contribution on special teams? Might that then lessen the Gainwell running back stuff? I do think Warren's role is set up to get a spike this week and just see if he can handle it. Maybe make him much closer to a bell cow player than he's been. Now, I know people are worried, I don't think he can handle it. I don't know, you know what I mean? I don't think he's going to be Chase Brown in Cincinnati or Jonathan Taylor in Indianapolis. It gets every touch out of the backfield. Obviously not. But I think that they're more than anything. First of all, I think they're a little more excited about Gainwell than maybe you guys are. And I kind of understand that, especially seeing him at camp, his quickness, his route running, things like that. But do we really need to be giving him short yardage touches? No, of course not. But they should be 10% more excited about him, not 70% more excited about him. You know what I'm saying? I do think they're a little bit tied at the running back position if they don't yet trust Johnson. There might be a day, and maybe that day's even in New England. I don't think it will be, where you just say, Johnson, it's time for you to sink or swim. We drafted you for a reason. We're going to give you a bunch of carries through the course of a day and see how it goes. You certainly are going to get in that point if Warren were to get injured. But I would think it's kind of the opposite this week. Maybe you set Johnson down. Don't even give him a hat. Sermon contributes a little. You make Warren the true workhorse and try to get a win with your best player touching the ball the most. You're in that position room. See what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's a little worrisome, and there's not a great answer. Gerard P. asks, Steelers haven't been able to run the ball since they used a fullback, at least deploy it as a change of pace. Thoughts? It's interesting. I think I told you guys this leading into the Seattle game, who features a fullback a lot, that fullback usage is really picking up again across the league. It used to be, these numbers aren't exact off the top of my head, but of the 32 teams when the 2024 season opened, I think 5 or 6 of them even had a fullback on the roster. This year, I think it's up to 17 or 18. I think it's a little over half the league. And Seattle, coincidentally, has 2 on the roster, And there are the Ricards, and the Chargers use a big 290-pound former D lineman type guy. And we saw it with the Steeler D. A lot of these linebackers in particular, but of course, everyone on defense doesn't really know how to take on fullback blocks. That kind of came out wrong. They just haven't played much against traditional fullback leading the way Dan Kreider. Do I take it on his right shoulder? Do I take it on his left shoulder? How do I attack the block in general? It's a different style block. They're coming full bore down at you. I'm open to it. It probably won't. That has to be more of an off-season decision in terms of Arthur Smith incorporating it in the playbook, finding the right one, which you don't have. Like, I'm not saying Cam Hayward, you're going to be a fullback this week, or like they would do with Michael Pruitt. And yeah, I know you're a tight end, but I'm going to have you do fullback stuff. No, if you're going down that road, I think you have to embrace it and play that guy 20 to 30 snaps a game. Presumably he would be really good in protection. Maybe he has some use check ability to at least catch the football as a dump off. I'd be interested, but I'm also not thrilled about taking Washington Jonnu Muth snaps away. You know what I mean? But again, these linebackers nowadays are really light. They're run and hit guys. They're combine testers more than they are diagnosers and great football players. And if you have a 250-pound Dan Kreider, Tim Lester coming downhill at you, it probably is going to be bad for the linebacker. And I like that. And I think it's a great way to add physicality to your run game too, as opposed to outside zones, a little finessey for me. DSR asked, Matt, great work on all your pods. Thank you very much. What are the recurring themes from a bad defensive strategy point of view? Personnel change is mute if strategy is stale, which to means Tomlin is not adapting himself or his strategy. I urge you to check out John Ledyard's work. I consider him a friend. We've did a podcast way back when. Good dude, knows his stuff. John will even tell you he might be a little on the negative sides at times concerning the Steelers. But he did a breakdown. Someone made aware to me that, and I guess a bunch of people have picked up on it, how teams are really high-lowing the Steelers' safeties. You know, they know that there's going to be a single, I kind of brought this up earlier, that they're too static with their safety use. There's one in the middle of the field. There's not a lot of late rotations or disguise or rotations at the snap. And people know there's a middle of the field only player, a post safety. This is just one example because it's fresh on my mind because people showed it to me yesterday. And I think John's the one that made everybody aware. So I want to give him credit. And what they're doing, a lot of teams are high-lowing that safety where they're putting a crossing route of some sort in front of him and something over the top that he has to choose. Now, this isn't legendary first time this has ever been done in the history of the sport, but they're having a lot of success with it too. You know, like the Jets' one touchdown was basically the exact same route as Seattle's touchdown, where they put that guy in conflict and you really just throw to the other receiver who's presumably on a crossing type route running away from the corner, who's going to have a hard time keeping up with him at full speed, or at least can lead him without the fear of another safety back there disturbing things. So I think that's one way of looking at it for sure. One example. And again, I would and we already kind of touched on this. I would definitely like more defensive creativity. I think that's safe to say. All right, everyone. I kind of went long with all these questions, so I didn't get to a ton. We got 2 more podcasts this week. This is Tuesday. Tuesday night is when I really, really dig into the opponent. Can't say I'm super impressed with the Patriots, but I am very impressed with Drake May. I think Vrabel's a legit coach. And as I've told you for the first 2 weeks, weirdly, I think this is going to be one of the bets, be a really, really good defensive line that the Steelers are facing for the 3rd straight week. that most people don't know about. Like everyone knows about Bosa and Garrett and, those type of dudes. But 3 weeks in a row now, I think they're facing a defensive line that is really good, deep, but just not full of household names. So there's that. All right, everyone, take care.